Welcome to the Your Town podcast, where we uncover the hidden, haunting stories buried in the history of small town America. Tonight, we're going to take you on the little adventure to the quiet college town of Potsdam, New York, a place known for its academic charm, close-knit community, and in the fall of 1986, an unthinkable crime that shattered its peace. Katie, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to say this right, Holka, was a bright, vibrant 19-year-old starting a new semester at Clarkson University, full of dreams and boundless potential. But one late August night, her path crossed with a predator, and what happened next left a mark on the Clarkson University that still remains to this day. This is the story of a life cut tragically short, a family's relentless fight for justice, and a killer who still seeks freedom despite the unimaginable horror he inflicted. Stay with us as we explore the details of this harrowing case, and remember the light that was Katy, a light that should never have been extinguished. The voice you're hearing, it's me. It's Matt. Joining me as always is the beautiful Meg.
Hello.
What's up, Meg?
Yeah.
So we were out and about, and we happened to hear this story, didn't we?
We did.
You know how my brain works. I hear a story. We got to do something about it. We were at Ebbins Hearth, I guess is how it goes, in Potsdam, New York, home of the Big Beers, which is very, very close to Clarkson University. And Meg and myself said, hey, we got not much to do. Maybe we should, dabble in some big beverages. And we had ourselves a time, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
For anybody that doesn't know, Clarkson is obviously in Potsdam, New York. It's a village of around 11,000 residents. Clarkson and, on the campus, it's a state university of New York College. Then it's really that. And, Clarkson and the State University of Potsdam, which is SUNY Potsdam, is probably the main industries in Potsdam, I'd have to say. And, the two colleges have student populations about 4,000 or so each, according to my research. And, pretty much on the outskirts of these colleges in the town of Potsdam is dairy farms that dominate the countryside. Lots of farms, pretty small rural area. Clarkson is a primarily technical institution that specializes in engineering and management. Its largest student of, the group of the students or whatever, they come from the state of New York. It was a male-only school until 1962. And Clarkson has a student body that, from what I saw, was around 80% male. So I just wanted to paint the picture. I know a lot of, good friends of mine, family that are Clarksonites. Is that what they go by?
Sure.
But, engineers and stuff like that. Great school. I've had the pleasure of staying in the dorm room there after too many beverages with a buddy. So, and I know you were State University of New York, Potsdam. So obviously I'm sure you're, not run-ins, but you're, you've had some time with some Clarkson people as well. And we've been on campus and just a decent little place, But back to Evans, home of the Big Beers. We were sitting there feeling super old, surrounded by college kids. And, they're walking in with their fraternity shirts and letters and Greek stuff that I still don't know what they are. And we saw a guy drink a shocking amount of Long Island iced teas out of said mugs. And, we kind of always had a picture, at least in my brain, and I think Meg does agree, that a lot of frat boys, when we were growing up, kind of, without, being a jerk, kind of idiots a lot of times in public. This is our scene on them, kind of dirty looking, kind of like some of the movies, the animals and stuff like that. The fraternities, you go into a frat house, they're gross. But we noticed that these were very polite, very, what's the word that you put?
They're kind of mellow.
Mellow, preppy, clean, well taken care of students. And I was like, good for them. Well done. But we got chatting. I'm pretty sure the guy's name was Sebastian. And he said that one of his classes at Clarkson, they had to do a podcast episode on a murder that happened in Clarkson in 1986. And to be honest, I hadn't heard of this. There's been some other incidents that have happened in Potsdam that I have unfortunately heard of, but I had never heard of this. Have you?
No.
And obviously at the time that this happened, we were very, very, very young. But this was something that I wanted to, jot in there. Shout out to Meg for jotting this in her fancy little note app. I woke up this morning, I was like, let's do this. got right to researching, and today is the day that we jump into a story that changed this community, the Clarkson campus, forever, and a story that speaks unimaginable tragedy and loss. Let's take it to August 1926, or August 20, yeah, August, August 29th, 1986. A bright young woman by the name of Katy was attacked and murdered on the campus. The murder was brutal, it was senseless, and just left just a terrible, I couldn't even imagine, the family, the friends, anybody that knew her. It was just a crime that never should have happened. And even to this day, there's a Facebook group that has thousands of people, thousands of followers that aim to make sure that the murderer never gets out on parole. And also, there's a book out there, A Stranger Killed Kathy by William LaRue. It's on Amazon. If you want to check it out, go check it out. I was thinking about adding it to the collection, so I think I'm going to get one of those, and maybe we'll do a cycle back. But viewer and listener discretion is advised. Some of the details of the story do get pretty gruesome. So, should we do the intro and jump right into this, Meg?
Yeah.
I say jump into this, but we've been talking for like 6 minutes, so we're going to run the intro. We'll get you more details. If you're still here, we appreciate you. When should we do it?
No.
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry. Missed it. So as mentioned, Katy, 19 years old. She's a student from Ellicott, New York. Ellicottville, New York, attending Clarkson. She was a full of life personality, kindness, bright future ahead of her. Friends and family remember her as someone who could just light up a room. She had an infectious smile, a love for life, and a heart filled with kindness. She was majoring in business and had dreams of just making a difference in the world, helping others. Like most college students, she had friends, a social life, and was enjoying the freedom of living on campus, excited for what lay ahead. It was her first day back on campus. She was ready for her second year. She was dropped off by her family. I believe it was her mother and her sister. Got all set up and just, like many others, wanted to enjoy the night out on town. You know what I mean? She's back. Let's go. Let's go, friend. Let's enjoy the night. College starts tomorrow. Let's have a good night. You know what I mean? Many college students have done this, still do this to the day. You know what I mean? Just out on the town with the friends. And this town at the time, especially in the 80s, was so innocent that I'm telling you right now, most people, they didn't lock their front door. They weren't locking their vehicles. It was just, you didn't have that kind of like city scare, that city violence. You could, nothing bad was going to happen. There was no need to lock your doors until there was a reason. And obviously, August 1986. Ugh, just tragedy. But before we jump into that, let's kind of say, who was Katy? You know what I mean? She was born June 18th, 1967 in Sylvan Beach, Oneida County, New York, which is obviously in the U.S. She was the daughter of Dr. Joseph and Teresa Ryan Connolly. Katy was the second oldest of 4 kids. Carrie H. Patton, Elizabeth McKinnery, and Joseph. Katy and her family lived in the place that she was born and raised. She grew up in a happy family and was very close to her parents and siblings. She attended Henniger High School, which is a public school in the Syracuse, New York area. So we already talked about, she's back. She's excited. Tomorrow school starts. Let's go have a couple drinks. Let's go dance. Let's go do whatever we need to do. She does all that, and she decides, all right, I'm going to head back in. We got school in the morning. She heads back like she probably has done, and so many other students have done. She decides, though, that she's going to take a shortcut. She takes a shortcut behind the indoor hockey arena, the Walker Arena, and that's where she crossed paths with Brian McCarthy, a 23-year-old Potsdam resident who was lurking near campus. She leaves the bar. It's late. And just this, again, these details are going to start to get a little bit rough. Just warning you. She leaves. 25 minutes later, there's a temporary security guard that was hired to oversee the arena's front office. He hears a noise, and it sounded like someone was hitting a door. Security guard called one of his colleagues. Hey, go check this out. They drive up to the building, and they see 2 people. But the two security guards they did not approach the individuals. They thought the couple, young kids, drunk, they were engaging in intercourse. And from interviews and everything else, wasn't an uncommon thing, you know. The car lights directly hit the young man, looked straight at the guards, then turned his head back down. Security guards, again, never thought too much about it because the couple, these security guards worked at Clarkson University for a couple of years. It wasn't unusual to see these students engaging in this activity in suspicious places.
Huh.
So the two guards leave. It seemed like the couple never left the area. Thus, the guards decided to go back and check whether they were still around and call the police to have them removed. But when they returned, they found Katie alone on the ground, unconscious, and could not speak. Unfortunately, Katie was beaten beyond recognition. The authorities they take her to the hospital. The injuries made it very challenging for her own family to even identify her.
Yikes.
Unfortunately, she dies 3 days later. The doctors declared her brain was dead, forcing her parents to actually have to take her off life support. She just, unfortunately, was roughed up pretty bad. And the police then get back to the scene and they start to kind of commence the investigations and actually found Brian McCarthy hiding under a flight of stairs. They pull him out from underneath the stairs and then he starts complaining of a back injury and claimed that he was actually a witness of the attack to try to fool police. But since he had a back injury, he was brought to the ER and interviewed by police. There was an investigator, John Peretta, who had been called in around 3:45 a.m. to start collecting evidence on the scene, take photos, all that good stuff, interview witnesses. Peretta then comes upon McCarthy in the ER, and it was pretty clear that the victim, Katie, would not be able to speak to him about the attack on her. Peretta, though, he's familiar with old McCarthy for several years. He encountered him several times for breaking and entering, robbery, and drug-related offenses. He was pretty aware that McCarthy was, in all likelihood, the perpetrator of the attack on Katy. Brian was arrested, charged, and eventually enters a guilty plea so he could have a little bit of a plea bargain on second-degree murder. Gets 23 years to life in prison. He didn't know Katy. It was just the wrong place, the wrong time. They do believe, though, he was, not that this is an excuse or anything, but he was drinking heavily, probably on drugs, the night of the murder. Over the previous 5 years, he had all sorts of charges: theft, disorderly conduct, harassment. And like I said, he was even previously arrested, not in the, within that 5-year span, and had to complete even a 6-month probation. But the outrageous lies that McCarthy had just concocted over the 35 years since the crime occurred. He took the plea deal, as we'd mentioned, because he wanted to avoid going before a jury, but not once did McCarthy wholeheartedly accept the culpability in her death. When he initially admitted to trying to have relations with Katy, he claimed that he had come upon her after she had been attacked by somebody else. He denied completing, said vicious things to her because he was too inebriated and high on drugs that he physically couldn't perform. He lied to the police that he had known her and that, they were casually, being seen. He had seen her. They had even talked and even tried to lie and say that they agreed upon doing the scenes the security guards had seen them do. It was lie after lie, and he just continues to spin this web of his lackluster imagination for over 4 decades. But the story doesn't end there. McCarthy, now well beyond his 60s, just repeatedly petitions for parole, hoping that he can walk free someday. But each time that he comes up for parole, Katy's family and supporters rally to keep him behind bars. They've shared the trauma, the grief, everything as publicly as they can, recounting the toll of the crime that took her life. Katy's mother has become an advocate, tirelessly working to ensure that McCarthy remains in prison. Each parole hearing is a painful reminder of what happened that night and the loss endured every day. Another case, the mama bear.
Mm-hmm.
She's not letting it go. But like I said, there is that Facebook page. You guys can get on there, continually help keep this guy behind bars. He has not shown remorse or reform. Reports from the parole board reveal that he has continued to display a disturbing lack of empathy and resistance to rehabilitation. This isn't someone who has accepted responsibility or even demonstrated a genuine desire to change. Releasing McCarthy would be a betrayal to Katie's memory and a risk to society. His crime wasn't a one-time mistake. It was vicious. It was a calculated attack on an innocent person, a brutal assault by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. Katie's family, friends, community members have fought tirelessly to keep him in prison, knowing the danger he poses if he was ever set free. So, the purpose of this obviously was do a little research, know about the story, but honestly, just kind of, say, hey, let's keep this guy behind bar. Anybody that's a family member, a friend, knew her, just kind of remember Katie. Obviously, we didn't know her. She was 19. We were barely 1. But it just always seems innocent, great people get caught up, wrong place, wrong time. Crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But, get on there, buy the book, support it, and just keep this monster behind bars. Obviously, her legacy is going to live on through family's efforts to keep her memory alive, to protect others from suffering the same fate. And I mean, on a lot of college campuses, you see those security things with the lights and the speakers and stuff like that. And it's sad you have to do it, but I'm glad there's measures in place for this scary world out there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the 80s when everybody felt safe.
Especially in like small towns.
Yeah. I mean, how many times did you walk around campus by yourself? In the same town?
Yeah.
Several times?
Mm-hmm.
Taking shortcuts. You're in what you think is a safe place by a hockey arena that has security guards. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's scary. Unreal. So make sure you guys check that out. We'll try to remember to put the links in the description to the Facebook and the book and everything like that. So obviously, thanks for joining us on another Your Town episode. Again, this one just popped up. Hopefully there's, a story that continually pops up when we're out and about. We'll do it. But if you have one, let us know. Shoot an email, matt@beardlaws.com, or shoot us a message at the Beard Laws Studio. And like I said, check out that Facebook. Just make sure that Katie's voice is never silenced and that her killer never walks free. Shout out to our sources, New York Times, tuco.co.ke, tapinto.net. We got a quote. It's a short one. You got this?
Sure.
You got this.
This is by Albert Einstein.
He sounds smart.
Yeah, he does. Intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death.
Yeah. I Googled college quotes.
Nailed it.
And this was inspirational for every college student.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think, Meg? Any final thoughts on this crazy story?
It's pretty wild that hits different when it's so close.
Very close.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, unfortunately, the small town got that one in 86. And I can think of at least 3, maybe 4 other incidents in this same little town. It's crazy to think maybe we'll bring those up as well. But
and it was on my birthday.
It was on your birthday. I wasn't trying to bring that up. No, it was the day after your birthday, right? I think it was. I thought it was the 29th.
No.
Yeah. August 29th. You would have been...
Moved in on the 28th.
You would have been 1 year, 1 day.
Nope.
No, that would have been... Oof,
that's you.
That's me. Sorry. It would have been... Yes. We're not telling you how old she is. That's rude. We won't show her on camera, let alone that. Yes. Moved back. But there. Okay. We're not going to tell your age. Anyways. You got anything else?
No.
All right. Let's go enjoy the rest of the day. Hopefully everybody listening enjoys the rest of your day. We can't thank you enough. We'll be back next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.